So, you've just got the keys to your new apartment or condo. That is an amazing feeling. But that key unlocks a lot more than just your front door. It's your entry into a whole world of shared ownership and community decisions. Today, we're going to demystify strata living, and I promise, not as some boring legal document, but as the powerful and frankly super important operating system for your new home.
It's a pretty simple question, right? But the answer, well, it's not as simple as you might think. It's not just you, and it's not just some faceless management company you send a check to. The real power is shared, and honestly, understanding how that works is the absolute key to protecting your investment and actually loving where you live.
Okay, so the very first thing to wrap your head around is this. You own two things. First, you have exclusive ownership of your private unit, your strata lot. That's your space, your four walls. But you also own a piece of everything else. The lobby, the swimming pool, the gym, the hallways, even the roof. That's all called common property, and you are a co-owner of the whole shebang. Now this brings us to a really crucial term, share value. Think of it as your official stake in the entire development. It's this number, usually based on how big your unit is, that decides three incredibly important things. 1, how powerful your vote is at meetings. 2, your legal slice of all that common property. And 3, exactly how much you pay in maintenance fees. It's the number that really defines your role in this community.
So who actually runs the show? Well, it's not just one person. It's more like a cast of characters, and each one has a really specific role to play. Let's meet the key players who are managing your building story.
When a building is brand new, the developer is in charge. Makes sense, right? But that's temporary. The single most important moment in a new strata's life is the very first annual general meeting, or AGM. This is the official handover. At this meeting, the developer takes a step back. A new legal entity called the Management Corporation is officially formed, and you, the owners, elect your very first council. This is the moment the building truly becomes yours.
But what is this Management Corporation, or MC anyway? It sounds so formal, doesn't it? But it's actually super simple. It's everyone. The MC is a legal body made up of all the unit owners. That means you, your next-door neighbor, the person on the top floor. You guys are the MC. It's like a mini democracy that has the ultimate legal responsibility for the building.
Now, you can't have hundreds of people trying to vote on every tiny decision, like which gardener to hire. It'd be chaos. That's where the council comes in. Just think of them as the elected cabinet. At the AGM, all the owners, that's the MC, elect a council of up to 14 of their fellow owners to handle the day-to-day stuff and carry out the big decisions made at the meetings.
And who can be on this council? It's pretty straightforward, really. You have to be a unit owner yourself, or if a company owns the unit, they can nominate someone. Even an immediate family member of an owner can step up. This whole setup makes sure that the people making the decisions have a real, personal stake in the building's future.
Okay, so now that we've met the players, let's take a look at the rulebook. How do all these owners actually make decisions together? This is where your voice, and remember that share value we talked about? This is where it truly comes into play.
The main stage for democracy in your building is the general meeting. This is where the big decisions get made, where budgets are approved, and where the council gets elected. And when it's time to vote, it's not one person, one vote. Your voting power is tied directly to your share value. So the bigger your stake, the more your vote weighs.
So when a vote is called, is a simple majority always enough to get something passed? Absolutely not. The rules are actually designed to require different levels of support for different kinds of decisions, just to make sure that the really major changes have a broad consensus from the community.
You can see here there are different hurdles for different decisions. For routine stuff, like maybe appointing a managing agent, an ordinary resolution needing just over 50% of the vote is fine. But for something way more significant, like creating a brand new bylaw, you're going to need a special resolution, which requires at least 75% support. And for some fundamental changes, that threshold can go all the way up to 90% or even need a unanimous 100% vote.
All right, now let's get into the really practical stuff. We know who makes the decisions and how they do it. But what are they actually deciding on? Let's talk about the money, the rules, and the day-to-day upkeep of your home.
This is the question every single owner asks. You pay these fees every quarter, but where does that money actually go? Well, it doesn't just go into one big pot. It's strategically divided to keep the building running smoothly today and to prepare it for tomorrow.
So your contributions get split into two essential funds. First, there's the management fund. This covers all the daily recurring costs, things like the security guard salaries, cleaning services, maybe some minor repairs. Then you have the sinking fund. This is the building's long-term savings account. It's for the big, expensive stuff way down the line, like repainting the entire building, upgrading the elevators, or replacing the roof.
And of course, every community needs rules. In a strata, these are called bylaws. Some of them are prescribed by law and you just can't change them. But the community can also create its own additional bylaws to suit its specific needs. And hey, remember, that requires a 75% special resolution. And these rules, they are legally binding on everyone in the building, whether you're an owner or a tenant.
This whole system really depends on everyone contributing their fair share. So what happens if someone doesn't? It's a really serious issue because one person's unpaid fees become a burden on the entire community. Luckily, the system has some pretty powerful tools to deal with it.
The management corporation has a clear legal path to recover those debts. It can start by filing a claim, for instance, at the Small Claims Tribunal. If that doesn't resolve it, it can place a legal charge on the property, which has to be paid off before that unit can ever be sold. And in the most extreme cases, if they have the backing of a special resolution, the MC can actually proceed to sell the unit to recover what's owed. This makes sure the financial health of the community is always protected. So after looking at all these rules and players and procedures, what's the big takeaway here? It's really about shifting your mindset. You're not just a resident, you're an active owner.
And that's the heart of it all. Living in a strata development means you are part of a collective. You're a stakeholder. You have rights, for sure, but you also have responsibilities. Your voice really matters, your vote actually counts, and your participation directly shapes the community you live in every day.
This quote just sums it all up perfectly. The best run, most harmonious, and most valuable properties aren't the ones where owners just sit back and complain. No way. They're the ones where owners show up to meetings, they stand for the council, and they act like engaged partners in this shared project of building a great place to live.
So the next time that notice for the annual general meeting shows up in your mailbox, don't just toss it aside. The budget for the next year, the rules you're going to live by, the people who are managing your largest asset, all of that is being decided. The only question is, will you be at the table to have your say?